What up, guys? The Bench Buddies are back with the MLB Week 14 Power Rankings. As always, I will be doing all 30 teams and putting them in their position for this week's rankings. But before I get into it, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below to be entered into our giveaway. And the hitters of the week are none other than possibly the two best players in baseball currently, with Ronald Acuna Jr. and Shohei Ohtani. Acuna had a masterful week with 5 home runs, 7 RBIs, almost hit 500, OPS of almost 2, and Shohei is just behind him with one more home run. And these two guys are pretty much the AL and NL MVP frontrunners at this point this year. And I really don't see anything changing unless one of these guys somehow gets hurt. But, you got to look at their weeks just this week, and it's just showing you how good they have been this year. The pitchers of the week are none other than Domingo Germán, 9 innings, 9 strikeouts, throwing a perfect game against the A's last Wednesday night. And, he just was so great. A lot of hard hit balls, but they found the glove and got outs out of it. And, 25 is pretty good, out of all the pitchers that have ever pitched in the MLB. That is a very exclusive list to be on. And now he can etch his name in the record books. And a person that might be etching his name in the record books, at least the Reds record books right now, is Andrew Abbott. He's been on an absolute tear since he got called up. One of the best pitchers in baseball since the end of May. You can just see it last week in his 2-start performance. Almost 14 innings pitched, 20 strikeouts, the 12 strikeout performance against the Padres, and he didn't even get the win in that one. And, other than that, he has just been so great for this Reds team. Just the story keeps going on these Reds on how young they are and how good they are performing so early. The dogs of the week are the Atlanta Braves. They went 6-0 last week, being the only undefeated team. 10-1 in their last 11, and I believe it's 21-4 in their last 25. This team, is clear-cut front runner right now for the World Series. The Rays were that team early on, but the Braves have just turned it to a whole different gear, playing such great baseball heading into the All-Star break. They have a 9-game lead in the NL East over Miami after sweeping them last week. And you can see Acuna second in almost everything. Olsen is second or first. They lead the league as a team in home runs. The average is second in the league. ERA and is third, and strikeouts are fifth. And even the rotation is getting it done for them. Don't be too surprised if they do add a bullpen arm or two around the deadline just to solidify that bullpen. The duds of the week are the San Diego Padres. 1-5 last week. Got swept on the road against Pittsburgh and went 1-2 against Cincinnati in games they could have had won and blew. And they're also 3-10 in their last 13. So this team is fading fast. They might need a managerial change middle of the season, maybe spark things up, get this going. But they did play some good baseball. 30 runs in 6 games is averaging 5 runs a game. But the pitching costed them some wins. They gave up 37 runs. And this team is 8 back for the last wild card spot in the NL, with a lot of teams playing very good baseball at this point in the season. The Padres are going to have to pick it up after the All-Star break to have a chance come September. Biggest movers of this week's power rankings are the Astros, Reds, and Guardians moving up, and the Giants, Blue Jays, and Angels moving down. And the biggest surprise, I think, on this list are, the Angels and the Blue Jays. They didn't move down too much, but, they had a decent week, but it could have been better. Playing some better teams, they should have at least got a few more wins. And then 30 through 21, we won't talk about 30 through 27. Those teams stay the same. The Nats, though, did pull off a winning week, which is good for them. White Sox, Cardinals, Mets all moved down one because of their poor weeks, and the Pirates' great week. My Tigers are staying put at 22. And this team, I have to talk about my Tigers. They're getting Skubal back, Erod back. Riley Green's more than likely coming back. They just had Matt Manning come back last week. So they are getting their full team back. And Riley Green was one of the best hitters in baseball when he went down, and same with Erod, a Cy Young candidate. So maybe this Tigers team isn't out of it yet. Maybe it's a little biased, but come after the All-Star break, this Tigers team could shock a few people. They're only still 4 games back in that division after being 9 games under 500. And then at 21 are those Padres I was talking about earlier. It just seems like they're slowly fading down here, and they finally have reached the last slide, and this is their lowest ranking to date. But can they make a big jump the week before the All-Star break to get back up there? 20 through 11, and this is where things get hectic. Teams moving down, up, and then just the Yankees staying the same at 11. But we'll start at the bottom with the Cubs moving down 2 after a abysmal 1-5 week. Mariners are moving up 2 after a tough series. They went 3-3 last week, so they're right around 500. Twins and Guardians interlocking. You can flip any of those teams right there in the AL Central. Those teams pretty much are the same exact team, so it really should just be tied for 17th at this point. One of those teams is going to have to win the division, maybe my Tigers too. But I think they're going to be at least around 500, whoever wins that division. The Red Sox moved down 1. The Angels are moving down 3 after their 3-4 week. And the Brewers move up 2 spots after a 5-2 week, making a resurgence, moving back up the leaderboard after a few weeks moving down. Phillies move up 1, going 4-2 last week. And when is Bryce Harper really going to turn it on? We've seen Harper have some good games, but he hasn't consecutively had a great week yet. And once he does, I think that Phillies offense will officially take off. Blue Jays move down 3 after a 2-4 week. They just can't. They just can't. They can't. They're 0-7 this year. I'm drawing a blank on who they just played, but they can't beat whoever they just played. They're 0-7 against them this year, and they need to get that sooner rather than later. Just because this AL East is up for grabs still. I mean, the Yankees are right there. The Red Sox are in last place, and they're only 2 games back from the Blue Jays. So Blue Jays really got to figure this out quick. At 10, we have the Cincinnati Reds jumping up finally into the top 10 after they're just dominating June month. And Elly De La Cruz, Spencer Steer, Joey Votto finally back now. You can just go on and on about how good this team is and how they get production on everybody. Giants moved down 4 after a 2-4 week, struggling against the Mets. The Dodgers and Marlins stayed the same, going 500 in a week after the Marlins swept and got swept. And the Astros moving up 4, going 4-2, getting big wins last week in the division against Seattle. The Orioles moved down 1 after a 2-4 week, and then the Diamondbacks are moving up 1 as they reach 50 wins as well after going 3-3. Rangers stay flat right there at 3. And then I know last week I got some heat for still keeping the Rays there at 1. But at 1 this week, we do have the Atlanta Braves, going 6-0 and having less games played and 1 win less than the Rays earns you that top spot. And, no other team, possibly the Reds and Braves, were the 2 hottest teams in June. And I think carrying into this week, the first week of July, and the All-Star break, the Braves are going to be the team to beat, not only in the NL, but in baseball. And that's going to be it for this week's video. Make sure you guys check back next week for the All-Star breakdown of where your team sits heading into All-Star weekend. But until the next time, the Bench Buddies are out.